Our military will come. Seoul warns North Korea to halt spy satellite launch. Before we dive in details, please subscribe to the channel and stay always one step ahead to know all global important events happening around you. Give a thumbs up and share the video with your family and friends. Let's move on with the video. South Korea's military warned North Korea not to go ahead with its planned spy satellite launch, suggesting Monday that Seoul could suspend an inter-Korean peace deal and resume frontline aerial surveillance in retaliation for a launch. North Korea failed in its first two attempts to put a military spy satellite into orbit earlier this year, and didn't follow through with a vow to make a third attempt in October. South Korean officials said the delay was likely because North Korea is receiving Russian technological assistance, and that the North could conduct a launch in coming days. Senior South Korean military officer Kang Ho-pil urged North Korea to cancel its third launch attempt immediately. Our military will come up with necessary measures to protect the lives and safety of the people if North Korea pushes ahead with a military spy satellite launch despite our warning, Kang said in a televised statement. South Korean Defense Minister Shin Won-sik said in an interview with public broadcaster KBS on Sunday, the launch was expected later this month, and that South Korean and U.S. authorities were monitoring North Korea's moves. The UN Security Council bans any satellite launches by North Korea because it views them as a disguised test of its missile technology. Kang said while North Korea needs a spy satellite to improve its monitoring of South Korea, its launch is also aimed at bolstering its long-range missile program. In the recent past, the tensions between the two countries have escalated, particularly due to military activities. South Korea and the United States, allies in the region, have been conducting joint military drills. These exercises, meant to maintain readiness and strengthen their military partnership, have not been well received by their northern neighbor. North Korea has criticized these military drills, stating that they escalate tensions and risk a serious security crisis. The general and politician Kim Yong-chol has gone on record accusing South Korea of missing an opportunity to improve relations by proceeding with the drills. It's clear that North Korea views these exercises as a provocation, rather than a defensive measure. In response to these drills, North Korea has taken a step back from the communication table. It has not answered routine calls on inter-Korean hotlines for 2 consecutive days. This communication breakdown is a stark shift from the recent resumption of inter-Korean calls, which followed a series of letters between South Korean President Moon Jae-in and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Analysts suggest that North Korea may be using this sharp rhetoric to gain leverage in future talks. Alternatively, they could be seeking concessions from South Korea, or possibly diverting attention from domestic economic issues. Regardless of the reasons, this escalation has led to a standoff that raises doubts about the possibility of improving relations between the two Koreas. This standoff raises doubts about the possibility of improving relations between the two Koreas. South Korea has accused North Korea of receiving Russian technologies to enhance its nuclear and other military capabilities in return for supplying conventional arms to support Russia's war in Ukraine. Both Moscow and Pyongyang have dismissed as groundless the alleged arms transfer deal, but both nations, locked in separate, protracted security tensions with the United States, have been openly pushing to expand bilateral cooperation. In September, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un traveled to Russia and met President Vladimir Putin in Cosmodrome, Russia's most important domestic launch center. When Putin was asked by Russia's state media whether his country would help the North build satellites, he said that, "That's why we have come here." The North Korean leader shows keen interest in rocket technology. Kang, the South Korean officer, didn't explicitly say what retaliatory steps South Korea could take if North Korea makes a third launch. But he strongly hinted the steps could include a suspension of 2018 inter-Korean military agreements, requiring both Koreas to halt aerial surveillance activities and live firing drills along their tense border. Kang asserted that North Korea has already violated the 2018 agreement numerous times. He cited the North's destruction of an unoccupied inter-Korean liaison office in North Korea, flying drones into South Korean territory and staging firing drills along the maritime border. Despite the North's repeated violations of the agreement, our military has been patiently abiding by clauses in the military agreement, but that has caused considerable problems in our military's readiness, Kang said. He said South Korea has avoided firing exercises at a buffer zone created near the rivals' disputed western sea boundary. Kang said South Korea's operation of aerial reconnaissance assets designed to monitor North Korea's forward-deployed artillery guns and other equipment has been significantly restricted due to the 2018 deal as well. The military deal, reached during a short-lived rapprochement between South Korea's then liberal president Moon Jae-in and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, created buffer zones along land and sea boundaries and no-fly zones above the border to prevent accidental clashes. Relations between the rivals have later strained after the breakdown of broader nuclear diplomacy between Kim and then US President Donald Trump in 2019. North Korea has since been focusing on enlarging its nuclear arsenal, prompting South Korea's current conservative president, Yoon Suk-yeol, to expand military drills with the United States. Also, North Korea faces challenges in dealing with the COVID crisis. In addition to the lack of medical equipment and testing capacity, the country is also grappling with a shortage of medical countermeasures. Its population remains unvaccinated, and it is in dire need of mRNA vaccines to protect against the highly transmissible Omicron BA.2 variant. But there's another layer to this crisis. North Korea is food insecure, and immediate food aid is crucial to prevent a humanitarian disaster. Yet the question of providing aid to North Korea is mired in controversy, given the country's isolationist stance and its strained relations with the international community. Despite these challenges, it is imperative that the United Nations and other international bodies step up their efforts to coordinate assistance. North Korea, for its part, needs to establish clear communication and coordination with the international community. The COVID-19 crisis in North Korea adds another dimension to the multifaceted issues faced by the Korean Peninsula. It serves as a stark reminder that, in the face of a global pandemic, no nation can stand alone, and international cooperation is not just desirable, but absolutely essential. The question that remains is, where do we go from here? As we stand today, the Korean Peninsula is a cauldron of boiling tensions. The military drills, the spy satellite controversy, and the COVID-19 crisis all contribute to an intricate tapestry of issues that need to be addressed. North and South Korea, two nations born from the same soil, find themselves at odds, their relationship strained by military posturing and the specter of espionage in the sky. Yet amid these tensions, a silent enemy in the form of COVID-19 has slipped through the borders, posing a grave threat to North Korea's already strained healthcare system. What then is the way forward? It lies perhaps in the strength of international cooperation. The issues at hand are not isolated incidents but are interconnected pieces of a larger puzzle. Tackling them requires a concerted effort from not just North and South Korea but the entire international community. The stakes are high and the urgency of the situation demands swift and effective action. In this complex geopolitical puzzle, every move has far-reaching implications not just for the Korean Peninsula but for the entire world.